Good evening. We're back with more Lord of the Rings LCG, and tonight is the Fate of Numenor on Nightmare difficulty. So we're into the final cycle that has Nightmare difficulty quests, the Greyhaven cycle. There are no more cycles with Nightmare difficulties after this. After this cycle is complete, then there are also 6 more Nightmare difficulty Lord of the Rings saga quests that I have yet to play. This is an exploration quest, the Fate of Numenor. These Lost Island locations, you don't know what's on the other side, and when you move to one you find out. You make progress on phase 1 here by exploring locations. So I'm playing a deck that is focused on stability in the long term, with threat reduction from Beregond and leadership Frodo, and an ability to establish a stable board state with Elrond and Vilya. Get the Steward of Gondor on Elrond, that's very important to being able to play everything. Gondorian Shield and Unexpected Courage on Beregond. You could make a very good case that the first Unexpected Courage should go on Elrond instead, in anticipation of Vilya. Here, these Lost Island locations are all Nightmare cards. And this one forces me to exhaust my heroes. When you move to one, you bring another one out of the Lost Island deck. Essentially, we're just wandering around and exploring this island until we explore 20 progress worth of locations. So we make 6 progress here, so that's going to be 4 on the active location, which is going to be 4 on phase 1. And that explored location gets shuffled back into the Lost Island deck. And we're going to go ahead and move to a new one. And it's going to be deal 1 damage to each exhausted character. So this quest can take a long time to complete in some cases, because you can get into a situation very easily where you have to wait for healing to come. Need to wait for the healing cards out of my deck, because that Lost Island effect of dealing 1 damage to each exhausted character is going to keep coming up. And a lot of my characters can't take that much damage. Leadership Frodo can only take 2 damage, and then he dies. So, going to take out that enemy and move on to the next round. The active location here will give 5 progress to the main quest. Taking a risk here with Frodo that the next one won't also deal 1 damage to each exhausted character. So I have to choose and remove characters until I have 2 or fewer remaining on the quest, and then I have to deal 1 damage to each character that's still committed. That's going to be Elrond and Éowyn. So Éowyn's up to 2 damage now. So hoping for some healing soon. Warden of Healing would be perfect. I'm going to get out Knight of the White Tower. I really like that ally. In the Vilya deck, he's very strong. Get some threat reduction. So I chose not to move to a new Lost Island because I didn't feel I could safely commit Éowyn and Frodo to the quest, and without them I don't have a lot of progress. at the moment, though hopefully I'll get my allies built up soon. A lot of the encounter cards in this one force you to discard cards, typically from the bottom of the deck. Or to look at a card on the bottom of the deck or the top of the deck and do. You usually get punished if the cost of that card is 2 or less. You don't get punished for more expensive cards. So this quest is kind of hard on a deck like the Outland Swarm deck that I usually play, because that has a lot of 2 cost cards or 1 cost card. Very few that cost more than 2. I think just Faramir. So I'm getting set up with a lot of combat ability. Combat ability is not really going to be needed here. There is an enemy, Guardian of the Golden King. He's a pretty formidable enemy. Probably use Éowyn's ability on him. So with Éowyn and the Giant Bear, I'm dealing 14 damage. And I've got a 5 cost card on the bottom of the deck. So I don't have to remove anyone from the attack. It said look at and not discard, so Glorfindel stays where he is. And the 2 characters together will deal 14 damage. Get out Thalion. Not going to have enough for Yazan in a turn or 2. Hauberk of Mail. Still cagey about questing with Éowyn or Frodo. And very much hoping for some healing to come soon. So without Frodo questing, my threat can't drop each round. It can just break even, and only break even if I have an enemy engaged with me, which I will here. So in this case, each engaged undead enemy makes an immediate attack, which there isn't any, so that's fine. To place each card with a cost of 2 or less on the bottom of my deck, which is going to punish me later. This enemy gets plus 6 attack, that boosts him to 9. Beregond has 6 shields with his Gondorian shield, so he's going to take 3 damage here. That nearly kills him. Oh, plus Hauberk of Mail, so just 2 damage. Doesn't nearly kill him, plus he has plus 1 HP with Hauberk of Mail. Beregond will be pretty good here, though he will be fragile with only 2 hit points. Still no healing. It's going to be 2 enemies. So get up to 15 progress on the main quest. That's good. So we've got to exhaust each ready hero. Did I forget to place that progress on the quest? That's just going to make things longer. Probably I could have moved on from phase 1 sooner. These things happen. So we're going to have the Knight of the White Tower take this second attack. And unfortunately, the bottom card is less than 2. We already knew that, since I placed it there, and that's going to force another attack, which is going to limit my ability to kill anything here. Eliminate, not limit. So we'll attack with Legolas against Throngs of the Unfaithful, get 3 damage on it. And there's Vilya. Now that'll help to find the healing. Gotta be very, very careful about who I commit to the quest here. Who's exhausted when I move to a new location. Deal 1 damage to each non-objective ally with printed cost of 2 or less. Place each ally destroyed by this on the bottom of my deck, so I don't lose anybody. So I should be at 19 here, since I forgot the 4 from last round apparently. But no problem, just means an extra round most likely. Well, actually, this would have no effect, whether it's 19 or 15 right now. Doesn't matter, exploring this location is going to do it. And that's another deal 1 damage to each exhausted character. So that's going to put 2 on Faramir and make it dangerous to use him. And it's going to kill Beregond, who is quite valuable here. So that's sad. Gotta discard a card here, and since it is more than 2, I'm able to kill this enemy. And Legolas will draw a card. And I'm going to use Giant Baron Yazan and leave Elrond free to Vilya in an attempt to find the Warden of Healing. And we'll get out Jubiar. He'll be good at limiting those shadow effects. And I'll quest as safely as I can. Can't risk flipping a Lost Island location that'll kill somebody important. But I'm going to risk it here, because I'll be moving on to phase 2 once I complete this location. So that moves us on to phase 2. And the Nightmare mode forces me to clear 3 Lost Islands before I can move on to Shrine to Morgoth. So I need 2 more Lost Islands as per the setup instructions. So I got 5 total, and I need to clear 3 of them. If I get Shrine to Morgoth before I've completed 3, it just goes back into the location. So here I've got to shuffle those so that I don't know which is which. And then put them back in the staging area. And I'm just trying to figure out how to do that at the moment. There we go. Probably just could have used a random number as well. So now, instead of shuffling locations that are explored back into the Lost Island deck, we're going to be adding them to the victory display. And if there are 3 or fewer in the victory display, You can't move to Shrine to Morgoth, so we got to clear all 4 of the locations that aren't Shrine to Morgoth before we can clear Shrine to Morgoth. And as you can imagine, that can make this quest quite long. Because if you kept repeatedly moving to Shrine to Morgoth on accident, it just wastes a turn. So this one is a marathon. And I get a kill for Legolas here and draw a card. I don't know why I didn't move to one of the Lost Islands this round. Last round, I mean. Got protection for Beregond. Do have an honor card in case somebody really crucial gets damaged. So I could maybe quest with Faramir because I've got honor card to protect him. If I reveal the 1 card that deals 1 damage to all exhausted characters. So that's what I'm thinking here with being willing to commit Faramir to the quest. And it's going to be add 1 copy of Lost Island. And shuffle them all so that I don't know which is which. Now I realize I need to shuffle them. But I put them in the wrong place. This quest cycle is a very enjoyable one. I recommend it quite a bit. The quests can be quite long, but I like them. I like them a lot. Introduce new mechanics such as exploring a map. They introduce sailing. The player cards are generally quite fun to play with and reasonably powerful. So I recommend this cycle pretty highly. The Grey Havens cycle, and I think it will be re-released. I think it's relatively high on the list for re-release. Think about using Path of Need here, but I realize I don't have the resources for it. So we're just going to quest. I did get the deal one damage to each exhausted character once again. Might be even 1 more of those in staging somewhere. So I get a drowned dead enemy. That's actually fine. That'll help me decrease threat. So the location this time goes off to the victory display, and we're going to move to the next one. And it's discard the top X cards. It's going to be top 3, and then bring another ended enemy into play. Both those attacks can be defended by Beregond. I still haven't found any healing. I have 2 copies of Ioreth and 1 Warden of Healing in the deck. There's 23 cards left in the deck, so I guess it's not that unusual. There's Ioreth, but she just got discarded. She was on the bottom of the deck. Discarding cards from the bottom of the deck makes this quest kind of long too. But we're making progress. And the board state is stable, and it's just a matter of managing the damage on everyone. And not getting caught off guard by anything. Which is definitely possible since I don't know the quest that well. There's Warden of Healing. Badly needed Warden of Healing. So we'll get some threat reduction as it's creeping up there, 46. And we'll play Warden of Healing and get some healing out there. Off the critical characters first. And we'll spend those lore resources, all of them, on healing. So everybody's in decent shape now. No one's in danger of dying anymore. We can go ahead and quest with Frodo now and use his ability to keep the threat low. So just a matter of clearing out these Lost Island locations. And then Shrine to Morgoth. Need to clear 2 more. There's Shrine to Morgoth, unfortunately, does trigger its forced effect. At least I think it does. And then it needs to go back and be randomized with the others. And that wastes my 1 move for the round. So each time that Shrine to Morgoth comes up, it's just going to waste a round. Now I realize that I probably should have triggered this forced effect, which exhausts my 2-cost allies. Brings an enemy. So now I'll get those shuffled up and then back into staging. Hope for some better luck next time. It's a 1 and 4 right now. So we'll just get these enemies cleared out and we'll try again next round. No problem with these attacks. The enemies in this quest aren't very threatening. Mostly they're just annoying. Use Legolas. And decline to draw a card. I don't think there's anything else in my deck that I really need. I should be careful to keep the Warden of Healing ready so that there's no danger of him being killed, though I do have the Honor Guard in the event that the location that deals 1 damage to exhausted characters should arrive again. So once again, losing all the lore resources I have to heal. Choose an uncharted location in the staging area and flip it over, and if it has a forced effect, resolve it. That's actually very helpful. Helps me to know. I could have found Shrine to Morgoth, and then I would have known which one not to move to. That will just go ahead and move to Forbidden City, so just need 1 more. 1 in 3 chance, 2 out of 3 time, so 2 out of 3 chance not to find Shrine to Morgoth next round. So using Warden of Healing to quest here was foolish, very foolish. Though I do have 2 honor guards to protect him if I need him. Still, I probably wouldn't do that because why do it? There's other characters I could use the quest. He only quests for 1. That is add a uncharted location, but I have Furial now, so I can take a look at that card and decide whether I want it or not, and I decide that I don't. So I'll take the enemy instead. Gonna move to a new shrine, and it just contributes its threat, even though it's the active location. That is no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and engage this enemy optionally. And then I'm not going to bother attacking him. We'll just leave him. So after I clear this location, then we're good to go. Shrine to Morgoth can come up. No problem. So it only came up 1 time before I wanted it to, and that's good. Not sure what the odds are, but that's probably pretty good luck. And I'd love for it to come up here, but of course when you want it to, it doesn't. So each player has to exhaust each ready hero. I do have Unexpected Courages out now, so that's not too big a deal. Once again, Guardian gets an attack, but Beregond's got lots of defense. So I just needed to look at Jubiar, not discard him. So I made things a little more difficult on myself by discarding him. He could have served that same function again on the bottom of the deck if I hadn't done that. And I forgot that that enemy should have engaged as well, and he gets an attack. So I'll go on Jubiar, who can cancel his shadow card. And then I'll just go ahead and take out that enemy. Do need extra attack because I get -1 for the Lost Jungle. So just use the 2 giant bears. Next round will be finding the Shrine to Morgoth. Gonna use Gandalf to drop threat here. Furial will be helpful in avoiding any of the nastier encounter cards. So we'll take a look. Do I want that one? No, not really. It may limit the number of characters I can commit too much. So in this case, choose an uncharted location and flip it over, so I have to proc the exhaust each low-cost ally. That should be the Warden of Healing as well, but no problem. I don't use him for anything. And I've also got to find an undead enemy. And we clear the Lost Jungle. Off to the victory display it goes, and we can move to Shrine to Morgoth. Can't draw cards or search my deck while it's active, but that's no problem at all. The attacks will go on Beregond to get some threat reduction. I don't know what that card is. Probably a bug or something. That confused me for a moment. And we'll take out that Drowned Dead. Oh, I think the Jubiar discard was correct because it was done off of a shadow card, not the Guardian's effect. Anyway, just got to make 8 progress, and that will end the marathon quest. Wouldn't say the outcome was ever really in doubt, but it did require managing characters carefully so that they didn't die from the periodic 1 damage to all exhausted characters. So that'll make the 8 progress, and that will end the game. So I like this cycle quite a lot. I like these quests. Some of them are quite long, but they're good quests with interesting mechanics. So, thank you for watching.